Let us now look at the objectives of this module. To familiarize the learner with the era of social education, identify the objectives of social education program, recognize the aspects included as core curriculum of the program, explain the implementation strategies, clarify integration with community development program, examine the contribution of central government in encouraging social education, identify international contribution, enumerate achievements of the program, and recognize the success of Gram Shikshan Mohim. Today we are going to learn about the era of social education. Indian history has evidences of advanced science, arts and literature and an indigenous system of education. It is also known, however, that women in general and men of certain strata were kept outside the system of education. As a result, the adult literacy rates were abysmally low. In 1901, the literacy rate of India was 5.35% and that of women was as low as 0.6%. A lot of people, educationists, reformists, worked to improve this situation. Prominent educationists and reformists like Mahatma Gandhi, Sir Vishveshwaraya, Ravindranath Tagore, Lala Lajpat Rai, Bal Gangadhar Tilak, and several voluntary organizations like the Bengal Social Service League, the YMCA, their work gave impetus to adult literacy in India. Adult education associations were formed in Bengal, Bombay, and in South India. The Indian Adult Education Association was established in 1939. Establishment of night schools in certain provinces and the library movement, public library movement, also gave impetus to adult literacy. Now, as a result, the percentage of literacy, the rate of literacy increased from 9.5 in 1931 to 16.1 in 1941. After independence, India developed a policy of planned development. 5-year plans were developed. The government assessed progress in previous plans, current needs and requirement for funding, set priorities and targets, and funded developmental programs. Now, funds received for adult literacy varied from plan to plan. In the first 5-year plan, the emphasis was given on elementary education. As a result, elementary education received a lot of funding, and this was because it was felt that if elementary education is strengthened, the need for adult literacy will not remain in the long run. However, in spite of this, some funding did come for adult literacy, and the social education program was funded in the first 5-year plan. The centrally funded scheme of adult education was prepared by a team of 7 very eminent educationists under the chairmanship of Sri Mohanlal Saxena, who was then the Minister of Relief and Rehabilitation under Government of India. These other members were Humayun Kabir, Mata Prasad, K.G. Sayyadain, V.S. Jha, M. Anantashayanam Iyengar, and M.K. Siddhanta. The committee laid great emphasis on social education and coined the term social education. The aim of this scheme which this committee has framed was that at the end of the plan, 50% increase will be attained in adult literacy rate of the adult learners between the age of 12 and 45. Let us now look at the objectives of this scheme of social education. A. To instill a consciousness of the rights and duties of the citizenship and foster a spirit of service to the community. B. To develop a love for democracy and impart an understanding of the way in which democracy functions. C. To disseminate knowledge of the outstanding problems and difficulties facing the country and the world. D. To develop love for the pride in our cultural heritage through the knowledge of our history, geography and culture. E. To teach the simple laws of personal and community health and develop habits of hygiene and cleanliness. F. To foster the growth of cooperative spirit as a way of life. G. To provide training in crafts both as a hobby and as a means of economic betterment. H. To provide cultural and recreational facilities by way of folk dances, drama, music, poetry, recitation and other ways of spontaneous self-expression. I. To provide through these various activities as well as through reading and discussion groups an understanding of basic moral values. J. To give a reasonable mastery over the tools of learning, reading, writing, simple arithmetic, and to create an interest in knowledge. And K. To provide facilities for continuation of education through libraries, discussion groups, clubs, and institutions like people's colleges. Now, this scheme engaged with the adult learner in several ways. Firstly, it engaged with him as a citizen who should know his democratic rights and his responsibilities. He should know his history, he should be proud of his heritage, he should know his geography. At the same time, he should also be aware of the problems faced by the country. Secondly, the scheme engaged with him as a member of the community. A member of the community who would live harmoniously with his neighbors and with the larger community. It also engaged with him as a learner, very important. It engaged with him as an individual learner who knows the tools of learning like reading, writing, arithmetic, and who lives a healthy living, who knows about basic health, who knows about a few common diseases, who cultivates hobbies, who is interested in art, culture, poetry, literature, music, and who is able to express himself well. It also paid attention to continuation of education beyond the basic learning, where he would continue to keep in touch with education, continue to learn through groups, through social groups, through youth clubs, through Mahila Mandals and through other kind of group activity. Let us see how social education was defined here. Social education was defined as a course of study directed towards the production of consciousness of citizenship among the people and promotion of social solidarity amongst them. The committee also identified 5 aspects of social education to be core curriculum. 1. Health and hygiene. 2. Family and community living. 3. Vocations. 4. Literacy and cultural activities, and 5. Recreational activities. The literacy material was built around health and hygiene, what kind of common diseases people may get, how to grow kitchen gardens, common festivals that are celebrated, maybe biographies of some great men, also how to treat women in the family, how to treat new entrants like a new bride to the family, how to behave with neighbors, and things like that. These constituted the stories that were used in the primers at that time.